All right, so today I'm going to build a small previs scene using an environment, 2 characters, and some cameras, and we're going to render at the end. So like I said before, I already chose two environments. I kind of chose 2 environments with 2 different formats to show you the process of putting it inside Motionbuilder. So that's the first one I found. So it's not that visually pleasing, but I mean, again, the environment is not animation related. So if you want to go with something like this, very simple, it's fine. I downloaded it. So if we click download, by the way, if you want to search for environments, I believe the best way is by all means, if you want to choose the same one of the ones I chose today, and you don't want to, you don't have a lot of time to do some searching, or you find a weird format that doesn't work, choose what I'm choosing today. I don't mind if you do the same exact exercise. I don't mind, because what we're learning today is just the sort of the techniques. Okay, but if you find something that works for your film, which, by the way, I haven't heard from anybody. So if it works for you, you want to download it and test it, and you're not having trouble, by all means, go for it. But you can use the same one I do today as well. Explore, so architecture, and then filter. Where's the filters? Filters. Click that downloadable. It will give you the free stuff, basically, the stuff you don't have to pay. So yeah, see, there's a couple here, there's one here. Anyways, go through it, but if you don't want that headache, just choose the same one I'm doing today. This one's called Half-Life Koa. I don't know, something like that. So download this one. So this format is in OBJ. So if I go in my downloads and I see the zip file, I unzip it, extract to Half-Life folder, and you will see 2 folders, one called source and one textures. So if I in texture, there's not going to be the OBJ. It's probably all PNGs, yeah. So if you go in source, it depends on the user. Sometimes the OBJ is right on the source. Sometimes it's another zip file in another zip, like a box inside a box. So just keep unzipping until you see the OBJ. All right, so it looks like everything is here. So if you try to import this one into Mobu, let's see what gives. So Motionbuilder takes FBX and OBJ. You can import an OBJ. OBJ import, you see nothing. Okay? So what do we need to do in this case? If you find a file, OBJ file that you like, but it's not showing up in Mobu, you have to open it in Maya. It should load with all the textures in Maya, so it shouldn't be a problem. So OBJ, I'll let Maya finish loading. Okay, here we go. So drag and drop, and it's upside down. So don't worry too much about the upside down. We'll fix that in Mobu. So you will see a bunch of meshes here. So you can export as is. Actually, Is there textures? Yes, I believe there was textures. Yeah, so it's already textured. So if you click on this little guy here, textured, it will show up with the textures. So what we need now is export this as an FBX, because it might have Motionbuilder might have another problem with the OBJ. So you can export this, export all, use the little box, export all, little box, choose FBX, export all, and I'm gonna go to, it's okay, the same folder that I unzipped. This way everything stays in the same spot. Half-Life. And now we can bring that, where's my FBX type? So now we can bring that FBX we just exported into Motionbuilder. You can open, there's no animation, so it's okay. Probably see a bunch of question marks. So what you, if you click, the shortcut is 6, 5. Oh, it's not showing up the texture. Let me see if it loaded the textures. Maybe it didn't. Okay, so it didn't find the textures. So, okay, first of all, if you see this problem, your environment disappearing, don't panic. It's just the near and far plane of the camera, of the perspective view. You will get this even when we add a camera. The camera has near and far plane. What near and far plane is, it's the camera's limits. So near plane is like 2 meters away from the camera, and far plane is like another plane. What's the maximum it can see, basically. So we need to increase that so we don't get this problem every time we zoom in and out. Okay? So where do we edit the camera or the perspective? Because right now we're in producer perspective. You go in cameras, perspective, and you see here in the middle, near and far plane. Those are the defaults. So what we can do, we can put 1. And for far, we can just maximize. So put like 5 nines or whatever. So now, you zoom in and out, and you don't see any issues. Okay, so the other problem, I'm going to save this. The other problem is the textures. So right now, the textures are in the scene, but it doesn't know where the path on the computer is because I'm not sure why. So it's okay. We'll just tell the FBX where to find these textures. So if you go here in the navigator, textures, and open just one texture. So this is called whatever, the name of the map. And double click on the texture here. Open, like by default it's going to be like this. And this, see, this is the path. So we just want to tell it to look again into that path so that the FBX file finds those textures. So if click browse and go to this folder again where we saved the FBX, and don't type anything here, just keep the same name because it will find it as soon as you click open. Yes? Yeah, it's recording. Yeah, it's flashing red. Thanks for the reminder though. Yeah. Did you, what kind of scene do you have open? But yeah, but the FBX, where did you download it from? Okay. Okay, so we want the FBX to find those textures. You only need to do it once, and it will load all the other textures right after. Okay, so you keep this name as is. You go open. Unknown image format. Okay, so maybe it worked on the weekend. Maybe it's the 2019 version. Can we try this? Oh, maybe it needs the PNG. I'm gonna try to load the PNGs. Go up, textures, and just change. I think Motionbuilder doesn't like TGA, so we need to switch to PNG. So I would keep the same name as the texture and just change the extension, PNG. Open. So, looks like it worked. So do you want to load other missing media? So it's asking you, do you want to load the other textures? Yes. And we're in business? We're not in business. Okay, so I'm going to try something else here. Export all. I'm going to change the format of the FBX to the, remember in the first class when we changed the format of the FBX to the oldest format? I think hopefully that should work. So export all, or maybe this is the problem. Okay, so by default it saved the first assignment. It saved the format to the oldest FBX format. So I'm going to try the reverse for the environment. The reason, remember the reason we did this? Anybody remember? For Mixamo, exactly. Because Mixamo was so old that it only took the oldest version. For this, 2019 should work because that's probably what I did on the weekend. So we'll go with 2019 because that's the Motionbuilder version. So export again and change the FBX file format under presets, specific type options presets. We can overwrite it. And now let's check. Create a new scene. And source. Open. So if I press 6 now, okay, so let's change the textures again. Browse. TGA, or should I, let's go with PNG, let's see what happens. I don't know why it's not working. See, there's some of them. Maybe because it didn't find them. Okay, I'm going to try the TGA. Maybe the TGA does work, but okay, open unknown file format. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to try the other file. By the way, if you get stuck on the environment, use one of these in the samples. What happened to my folder? Clip art. Oh, and samples, sets. This is on the S drive. Does everybody have this? Yeah? Okay. So if you open one of these 5, you'll get an environment already set up, so feel free to use it. So you get like 5 sets in here. I'm going to try the other one, I believe Bangkok or something like that. Yeah, Bangkok. So I'm going to unzip this. Bangkok. Again, same thing, textures, and there are in PNG format. And this one is in FBX. Okay, so if I open the FBX, we got something, at least. Okay, so it's missing the textures. So let's try to see if this one works. So again, textures, go in the map. Double click on the texture, browse, and we go to Bangkok city scene, textures. These are already PNG. You don't have to worry about TGA. There's no 2 formats, only one format. Open. Want to load everything? Yes, please. Yeah, success. So, awesome, we're in business. So I'm going to save this in Joe environment. I'm going to call this environment. Environment. Bangkok city scene, something like that. I'm sure that's not how you write Bangkok, but excusez-moi. I think it is. Not sure. Okay, so again, same problem. You zoom out, city disappear, in cameras, perspective, minimize this one and maximize this one. Don't worry too much about the lighting. We can just live for now with one light, because as you can see, is not exactly the same. Where is it? In Sketchfab is more beautiful. Sketchfab is using Unity engine, so that's why it looks better. So you're not going to get the same rendering here, but don't worry too much about it. There's a bunch of lights here. We don't need all of them. For this exercise, we only need the global light. You can add a spotlight if you want to just have fun with some lighting. The way to do this is templates, elements, light. Just drag and drop. And then if you go in the navigator in light, here you can change the type of the light. So if you want point light, I don't even know what the difference. Infinite light, it gives you, I think, like a global, similar to the global light here. And there's a spotlight too, fancy spotlight. So I think yeah, let's go with something like this. It's okay. It doesn't really, as long as we can see what's going on with the motion, that's fine. Okay, so now we have the environment, but it's a little bit messy because there's a piece per object. So we want to kind of I don't know if you took it in Maya, the grouping, where you have a bunch of, yeah? Okay, so you have a bunch of objects, you just group it into one. It's kind of a parenting system where 10 objects belong to one group, and that you can move that node, the group. It's like a parent-child relation, so just to be a little bit more tidy. So what I'm going to do, because now in the scene, there's all these objects, and I just want to kind of put them together in one group. So if I decide to, wow, there's a lot of stuff in there. If I want to scale the environment or move the environment, I just have to worry about one node. I don't have to scale each one, okay? So what I'm going to do is in elements, I'm going to drop what we call a marker. I'm going to drop a marker. It's very small. Oh, you don't see the marker if you're in models only. You need to be in normal. You can change the display of the marker. So like if you want the cross, just select it and go in the properties. Okay, I usually like to put that in the center of the environment. So first I want to check the rotation. The rotation is 0, 0, so we're good. And now we can position that marker. So I'm going to put it like smack in the middle, because if you want to scale the marker, at least you're scaling from the center of the environment. You're not scaling from the edge of the environment, so you're kind of scaling it. You'll see in a bit what I mean exactly. Because if you put it here, and then you bring in a character, and the character is too big or too small, and you have to scale the environment, you're going to scale from this point. So it's easier to put it in the middle, so you kind of see a global scale from the center of the environment. In terms of height, I usually like to put this one flush with the floor that I'm going to work with. So let's say you're seeing the character is standing on this brick road. I like to put that flush with that floor, because then what you could do, once you parent-child everything to that marker, you can put that marker at 0, 0 and Y, because that's your grid. Remember the grid? Well, you're not going to see the grid because it's so small. Remember the grid with where the feet line up at 0, 0? This marker, if you align it with the floor of the characters, where the characters are standing, it's going to be easy to just move them, move the environment to match that grid. Because once you start bringing in clips, all the feet will be at 0, 0 on the grid. So this way you don't have to move them in height. You don't have to worry about the height of the characters. The environment, the marker that's going to be parent, will be flush with the grid. So when you bring in the mocap, everything will be leveled. Okay, so again, top view, put that at 0, 0, or center. And now a little trick. See, my marker is here. I do, see, all these are, the teapots means it's an object, okay? So what I do is I right click here, Invert selection, sorry. It's not available in the drop-down. So if you go in the menu, edit, invert selection, it will select everything but that marker, okay? We don't want to, actually we'll parent the light too, it's okay. Or if we scale the light, okay, let's not parent the light, just in case. So if I hold down Control and click on the light, you can add or remove. So now we can we've selected the children, all the objects in the scene except the marker, okay? So what do we do is we hold down the left mouse button and just drag to the marker. It will give you a little pop-up, parent. Okay? So what happens now is deselect all the pieces, select the marker, and now all of them are parented to the marker, just like in Maya. I know in Maya it's a bit easier, but you know, each software has its own tricks. It's easy. Don't be too. It's not that complicated. So you just have to select the pieces, drag them to the marker, and let go. You will get a pop-up and parent. So now, what you can do is we can now freeze this. Actually, before we freeze, let's just select the marker. And right now, see in Y, he's at 556. So we want to put that to 0, like I said, to make it flush with the grid. So now if I zoom in, see that grid? Now we see it because we're right on it in the Y axis, which is where all the mocap will come in. Already flush with that grid, already flush with the brick floor. Okay, so now we can let's say we're happy with the environment, we freeze it. We select the marker, right click, and select branches. What that will do, it will select all the pieces underneath. Okay? We go in groups, create, call it layout or environment. We take off translation and pick, so now you don't accidentally pick it. Did somebody has a question? I saw a hand earlier. No? Okay. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the environment. By the way, if, for example, in your previs later on, you want to animate a car, you find a car on Sketchfab, it's the same process with what we did. So let's say, where is it? In samples, props. Let's say you have this beautiful ball, merge, no animation. Where's the ball? Go in scene. See, this is another reason why to be organized with the environment, because if you don't group it like I did, you're going to have a huge list of objects. So it's better to group it like we did. So ball is here, sitting nicely on the shelf. So rule of thumb, never animate, let's say you download a car from Sketchfab, never animate the mesh. Okay? The mesh itself should not be keyframed. Like you don't go in and start doing keyframe here and then move and start doing this. I highly suggest get a marker like we just did. marker, and a little trick. This one already has a pivot. It's center. It's already good, but there's a high chance of the card that you download, the pivot will be in a weird spot. Let's say it will be on the roof. So you don't want to animate a card with the pivot on the roof. You want to think of the placement, a good placement for the pivot point. Okay, so in case, for example, let's say the pivot is on the roof. When you create the marker, you align it, let's say, to the ball. Put it in the place where it makes sense. For example, a car, the pivot should be at the bottom flush with the wheels, because it has to be not constrained. It has to be following, hopefully, the road. So you want the pivot in the right place. So that's one way to fix a mesh with the wrong pivot. Is you bring it in, you make a marker, and you put the marker in the good location where it makes sense. Let's say you have a sword, and the pivot of the sword, he put it at the tip of the sword. You can't animate with that. So make a marker and put the marker at the handle, and then mesh. Select the mesh, and you can do the same. Hold down mouse button and drag to the marker, parent. So now, obviously, you want to be tidy. So marker underscore ball. And now you can start animating. If you make a mistake, you select the ball, right click, unparent, confirm. So now, let's say you move the marker, you want it to be in the middle, or at the bottom. You do it again, parent, and now the pivot is here. Cool? So this is the same method as applying it to a prop, a car, a sword, anything. Okay, spent enough time on the environment. So now we're ready to add a character, or maybe two. We'll do two because we did one last week, and I want to add two this week. So I want to choose Aragor, bring him in, merge, no animation, and he's probably at the wrong scale. Oh, let's see. Okay, so I'm going to activate the control rig and just move him closer to the car to see the scale. So this is actually before, I'm going to delete the control rig, because if we decide to scale him, we have to scale. Remember that if you want to scale your character, you need to scale it before applying the control rig. Okay? So if we go in scene, Aragor root, and we bring him here. Actually, that's not bad. So you don't need to scale. So you have two choices. Either if your characters are in the good scale, let's say short and a tall guy, but your character, the environment is out of whack, you can scale that marker now, right? You can take the marker for the environment. I'm going to rename it. Rename. Layout. So you select it and you scale. Why is not? Oh, that's why. So in groups, because we turned off translation, rotation, scale, you can't scale it anymore. It's locked. So activate and scale. Okay. And if you do decide to scale the character, scale it on the skeleton. Okay, I'm going to freeze the mesh 2 for Aragor. Aragor mesh. So now I can safely turn on the control rig. FKIK. Now I can start putting some motion. So what do I want to do? So I'm gonna make him maybe, yeah, I'm gonna make him run from here to here, and then I'm gonna use this guy, the alien. What the heck's going on there? Somebody finished class early. Okay, so I'm gonna call this Bangkok previs. So when I start assembling, like I said before, environment is one scene, just in case you need to revert back. So it's clean, just the environment. Once you start assembling the pieces, create another scene. This way you separate your environment from your assembly. Merge, no animation. And Gaunt. I think he's the right scale because Aragor and Gaunt, they're almost the same scale. So I'm just going to switch to control rig and bring him closer just to make sure. So full body, release spinning, and move. That's it. Okay, so I'm going to start with making him run. Run from here to here. He's going to stop, look around, and then this guy, the alien, will jump behind them. They'll have a fight, and one of them gets knocked down. Super simple. We don't have a lot of time, so let's just have some fun with it. Okay, so first thing, Aragor. I'm ready to start with story mode. I have all the clips, let's say, from Mixamo. I'm going to use mostly the previous moves, the folder. If you guys want to, again, if you guys want to branch off and do your own thing, I don't mind. But you need to look at the other videos to see how to download from Mixamo, the whole process we did last week. So insert character animation track. Aragor, I'm going to use a run first. Run straight. So where is the run? He's running this way, obviously, in the wrong direction. Sadly, there's not enough room. Well, I can make him come in from here. Yeah. Oh, then you're going to see the... No, I'll make him come in from here. Yeah. Okay. So to move the clip, show ghost mode on. And then if I turn on the little ghost, can start moving the clip. I'll put the first frame here and then rotate. Wow, okay. So I want I want to show you how to, let's say you want him to run in a curve. Okay? I want to show you how to be able to do that easily. It's kind of what we did last week. But using the same clip, we're going to cut it, rotate, cut, rotate, cut. So this way you achieve the curve on the character. Okay. So right now he's running into a wall. In here, I want him to start turning. But first, I want to see if there's enough. Yeah, there's enough. There's enough room. Because if you don't have enough, if let's say you want him to finish here. So you want a bit more steps. So remember what this button does? Anybody by default? What does this button do? Megan, you want to do? Yeah. If you click on it, by default it loops. If you click on it, turns to a scale. Sorry. You wanted to answer? Yeah, the scaling will increase the timing and decrease the timing. But in this case, I want him to loop the run, okay? Just to get that extra few steps. So in here, what happens is I reach the end of the clip, and then he starts again. So the reason it loops perfectly is because the first frame here and the last frame of the clip are exactly the same. If he was in a different pose here at the end, it would not loop. It would actually loop in the scene, but you will see a pop, because if he was in a stride or the other planted leg, you will see on one frame he will switch, because the next clip where he starts the second loop will actually be the first frame of this clip again. So just make sure that this clip, the first and last frame, are the same. That's all you need to be aware of. The stuff in the previous moves mostly are good because they're already cleaned mocap, so they should loop properly. Even the Mixamo stuff. The Mixamo stuff is pretty good too, because it's not raw mocap. It's already edited and ready for sort of production. Okay, so now we have enough. We have enough cycle, or we have enough running. So in here, I want him to start turning. So what do? I razor. And then I rotate the clip maybe 20 degrees. If you want to be precise, you don't have to be precise, but just rotate it. Don't go like 90 degrees. Go small increments. Let's say you have a big curve to do. Go on each angle, so think of like a hexagon or whatever. Think of 20 degrees each clip. So you get a nice curve, and then what we're going to do, we're going to blend it together. So 20 degrees here, and then maybe another 20 because I want it to end here somewhere. Okay? So in here, razor again. And then rotate this one 20. That should do it. So now what happens is, see, clack. If I press play, oh no, playback is busted. Again, refresh. Oh, there's so many problems. Okay, so I'm going to save my scene and reload it. I wish we stuck to 2018. Hopefully everything is still there. Press play. Yes. So see these little hiccups? And we can smooth that out by, anybody? Yes? Exactly. You can fade, you can take this clip and bring it over, and then what's going to happen is it's going to start blending into the rotation. So at here, at this frame, so this clip is 20 degrees rotated. So at here, it's going to be 0 rotation, and gradually it will go up to 20 degrees up here. So this is the crossfade that we did. Same thing here. Don't move it. Just take the end and blend it over. Okay, so now much smoother. Okay, so in here I want him to stop. Actually, I don't think I need the extra cycle, because if he's going to stop in 2 meters, he's going to hit the wall. So I'm probably going to cut this. So again, make sure it's either you razor it or you just trim it with the loop function. The loop function is trimming and looping, so you can just bring this back, and that will be the last frame. Anyways, we're going to adjust this, because what I'm going to do now, so if I want him to stop, I need the run to stop mocap. So that's what I'm going to look for. There should be a jog to stop or jog to stand or something like that. Run upstairs, maybe jog. No, I think it's in the samples. Yeah. So characters, samples, characters. Oh no, not characters. Anims. Anims again. Male. So jog to walk, no. Run to stand. Let's try that. Okay. I'm going to bring that in. So let's see what that looks like. Of course, he's going to be over there, because it's from 0, 0, I think. So that's what we want. So the trick is we need to kind of match what pose we have here, right? With remember our last week? Or I think it was the week before. We need to match sort of the posing of the run with the stop. So right here, he's kind of a right foot passing. So actually, before we do, let's just match this one to the jog. Anybody remember what's the best match object? Hips, yeah, got it. So hips, so here we're matching to the previous clip. So we want to match this stop to the run. So previous, at the end of the previous clip, and we want both translation and rotation. So now what do we get is, yeah. It's kind of taking a long step. So here we can probably cut a few frames of the jog as well, because he's already taking 3-4 meters to stop. So you see he's already passing through. So what we're going to do, maybe we're going to actually cut the jog up to here. because the start of the stop is right foot planting. So we're going to go back, kind of this pose. Kind of matches the start of the jog. Trim it all the way up to here. Move this one back and match it again. So what do we get? It's not bad. So I don't like this pose too much. It feels a bit unnatural. So what do is we blend the jog into the stop. So this way you get continuity from the jog. Okay? So where do we like the pose? We like the pose here. We just blend this one in. Let's see what that gives us. Some sliding. So what I can do to minimize the sliding, take this clip. Actually, before we do, let's see where he ends up. Ah, perfect. Enough. So to minimize the sliding, just fix the clip position. Okay, just move it back a little bit. So if we switch to local, same thing. Okay, doesn't matter. We can just slide it back a little bit. And now he should slide less. Ooh, but create a little pop. Undo. Maybe we have too much blend. Or maybe we can cut this frame, cut this clip. Just maybe remove one frame by just trimming it. Let's see what it gives us. Why is it doing that? Is it because... Okay, that's we can sliding feet. Sometimes it's better to pay more attention first to what the hips are doing, because if the hips are okay, then and the feet are sliding a bit, it's fine, because we can fix the feet after. If you can fix the feet at the same time, it's a bonus, but everything comes from the hips. So if your hips and upper body are smooth, we can fix the feet after story mode. Not today, like when we get to polish, once we're done, almost the last 2 weeks of the previs, we'll do like a polish phase. So don't worry too much about, there's minimal feet sliding, it's fine. But if you can fix it at the same time, it's a bonus. So I think if we look at the hips, so my trick is to hide the feet so I don't see the feet. So if the hips are good and the upper body behaves good in the blend, then you're in the right direction. There is a little difference in speed. So what I can do is I can try to scale this clip a little bit, scale it down. Let's say 1.12. It's kind of better. It matches the speed of the run. Okay. It's a little bit better. Yeah. Okay, so we just scaled the stop. So after this, I'm gonna make him look around. Go up here. Is there a look around? Stand around, maybe? Let's see what that is. I want something that I've seen it before. Stand around, small arm movements. Oh, this one. Hands up. Yeah, it's like checking things. That's fine, whatever. So he's checking things out. I'm gonna match this guy too. So now, yeah. So what I can do here, to minimize that pop, because the first and last frame of these two clips are not the same. So what I can do is I can bring this one here. So as soon as both feet are planted, I can bring this clip over. So what happens is, see, he starts blending into the next clip. So you won't see that pop anymore. Okay? So now I'm going to bring in the alien. I'm just going to see how it looks. Cool. Good? Good so far? Okay. Now, alien time. Surprise attack. Gaunt. So, jump down maybe from here. Is there a jump in? Jump in. Okay. Gaunt, animation track. Jump in. I don't know what M is. Let's find out. Where the hell is he? What's he doing? Oh, jumping up. We need jumping down. Jump from object. Let's try that. Yeah, that could work. Sure. Okay, so okay, so I want him to jump down from this balcony facing Aragorn's back. So I'm going to need to offset this all the way here. All right. So maybe he jumps, he looks, and then maybe when it looks left, the guy surprises him and he jumps down. Move the clip. And so we kind of know where the last position is. Okay, so we can rotate the clip kind of from the last position. Okay, so we want him to be kind of facing his back close to him. Okay, so we rotate the clip facing, and bring him a bit closer because he's going to give him a kick or something. And see, he's already flush with the ground with that little trick we did with the marker. You don't have to worry about the ground. Everything is flush. Every time you have to move the clip in Z or Y, it's less things to worry about. So now we scroll back. So he's jumping 1 meter. We need him to jump, I don't know, 4 meters. So he's going to jump off screen. So we don't need to worry about seeing him up there. So I'm going to fake the height using the clips. Okay. So who wants to tell me where should I cut? Where should I cut the clip to make this possible? In the middle, there's 3 parts I need to cut. So in the middle is, where do you think in the middle? Huh?
I think we should cut the part with the stand.
Yeah, where he lands?
Yeah.
Yes. So that's the first part. So as soon as he lands, like his feet are on the ground, this, I'm just going to make, okay. So as soon as both feet touch the ground, we don't want to touch that clip after, right? Because that's the landing. He's landed, and all the clips should be as is. Okay? So that's where we cut it. We cut it here. And then right here, so what we want to scale this part, like the translation from the balcony to the ground. Okay? So technically here, we shouldn't, before this frame, again, we shouldn't touch. Right? So we cut again. Actually, before we cut, I'm going to move this clip so that he is balcony height. Okay? I'll move it backwards a little bit too. So imagine he's standing on the rail. Okay? So now what do we get? We get something, he's on the balcony, decides to jump, and then pop. This is the clip we're not going to touch. So we just want to scale the sort of the falling. So in here, as soon as the foot takes off, we want to start scaling. So we cut again. So this one and this one are kind of untouched. We shouldn't touch them anymore. And we take this one, okay, and we put it midpoint between this and this. So if you look at the Y, this clip is at 0, 0. But this clip is at 262 in Y. So we just put this one at 262 divided by 2, 130, roughly, 131. Okay, so we select the clip, 131. We move it forward a little bit too because we want a nice trajectory, because we moved this one back and we moved this one forward, so we need to move this one kind of, so we get something like this, see? So now we use the magic of blend. Will it blend? Let's check. So we take the ends, or actually, let's try. So there's 2 ways of blending. I'll show you. You can see the corner here. If you put the mouse right on the corner and you drag it over, what you're blending here is, I don't know if he showed to you this last week, no? What you're blending is you're blending the first frame of the clip, just the pose, the frame, into the previous clip. You're not blending the whole motion. Okay, so you're blending just the pose in comparison to this. Okay, so here you're blending you'll see the difference. So what happens is, it might work like it kind of worked in this case. Let's see what happens here. See, it's so stiff. It's because we're blending only the pose on the first frame of the clip. So it's probably better if we do this. The other technique is mostly used if you're maybe blending into a static pose and you want to hit a certain pose on the next clip. That's how you do it. But in movement, it's better to blend the animation into the previous or next clip. So probably 90% of the time you want to use this one. So see, this is the other problem when you do it. So this part is okay, but he slows down. Oh, I did a mistake. Anybody wants to tell me what my mistake was? Yeah. Yeah, I scaled it. You got it. So I was on the scale function. So we need to be in the loop function. Let's try it again. So he still kind of slows down here. So what we need to do is we can play with the scale a little bit, but in this case we don't want to scale too much, so we can play with the scale in the properties. So if we put 0.8, actually sorry, 1.2, because 0.8 is slower, so we need the clip to be faster, so we'll put 1.2 or 1.15. 1.15. Let's see what happens. No, it's still not working. Okay, so we might have to. So again, the blend is a give and take. Sometimes it works, sometimes you have to kind of try things. There's no one recipe, because all the motions are different. Sometimes one recipe works, sometimes you have to kind of play with it. So it works up to here, and then falls. So here's what we can do. We're going to go back to this, because falling down that height, you want it to be a little bit faster, right? So now let's try to scale. Put it in the middle. So he's going down faster. And then let's try bringing that pose into the previous. And then this pose into here. Yeah. Let's see. He's still kind of hold. Maybe we need to scale it a bit more. Let's try. If we scale it, will it mess it up? Maybe we need to scale it up. Sometimes you can try blending the pose of the previous clip into the next clip. It might help. See? Now we got something interesting. So let's see what that looks like. It's not bad. It's workable. We might, depending on the camera that I'm going to do, we might not see that glitch. So a little trick for later, once you start building your scene, you can hide a lot of stuff with camera cuts. So this is probably one trick that we can hide with camera cuts. It's actually not bad. I mean, let's say the camera is like this. The landing is not the best. I could have maybe spent a little bit time trying to find something better. So obviously the higher he's jumping down, the lower on the landing that you want heavier landing, because this one it's not meant to jump from 5 or 3 meters, right? But it gets the idea across for the previous, so don't worry too much about it. So what I did here is I scaled this clip to make him go down faster, and I blended the poses of this frame into it and blended the poses from here into it. So it's kind of a crossfade of the two clips using the poses. Okay? So this is one technique. For example, if you don't find a jump down on Mixamo, this is one way to cut and make the clip do what you want it to do in terms of displacement. Okay, so I'm going to give him, right after he jumps, maybe Aragorn turns to face him. I think there's a turn around, stand turn 180. Yeah, this should work. So we want him to turn to his left, okay? Yeah, which is this one. So match hips. So maybe we can start turning here. So remove the scaling. So it's strange. Yeah. Okay, let's match it again to see. It's facing the. Okay, well, we can tweak that anyway. There's no 90, is there? Yeah. You can razor, or you can take the end. So when you're in this button, the loop function, you can trim like this, or you can use the razor. Yeah. Yes, that's what I was gonna do. But I found the 90, but it's a good point. I'll do it for you. So here, I'm gonna maybe blend some of the looking here into this. So he's bringing down his hand as he's rotating, see? And I want to cut it right here, because that's where the foot is planted. So I'm going to cut it here. If you want to cut, make sure you have the selected clip, and then rotate this one. Comme ça. That's what you were asking? Yeah. So you could do it like this. Always don't go 90 because the blend's going to be ugly. So go just maybe 10 or 20 degrees. And then you can either blend this one into it or this one into it. So let's try this. Ooh. Nope. So maybe we blend the next one into the previous. Yeah, it's not the best choice, but if you find the turn 90, which is there, it's a better option. But if you don't find the turn 90, you can do it this way. So now, fight. So I'm going to give Mr. Gaunt a kick. I don't think there's a fighting here. Yeah, these are more locomotion. So everything in the samples, NIMs, they're mostly locomotion. So I'm going to go back to the previous moves. And give him a nice jump kick or something like that. Jump punch. Let's see what that looks like. Of course, we don't see it. It's at 0, 0. Add to previous. Yes, yes. So there we go. Okay, so here's a good example. When he lands, I want him to land with this pose. Okay, I want him to finish in this pose. So what do? I want to take this pose, or the first frame of this clip, and blend it all the way up to here. So I take this, the corner, and my mouse is the best mouse. And it starts blending. So, okay, so we need to cut this. So, yeah. Well, as he's turning, he's going to get kicked. That's fine. That's okay. So I'm going to cut some of these idle frames because we don't really need them on Gaunt. And then I'm going to take this pose and blend it. It's not the best. It's okay. Let me see what it looks like. Yeah. So the longer you blend into, use this, the more blendy it starts getting. So it should be as short as possible. It's okay. You get the idea. If he should land. Let's see if I can have, maybe there's always different ways of doing it. If you slice it like this, and let me see. No, it doesn't work unless we scale this one. Let's check. So what I did is I clipped sort of the idle section of the attack. No, it still blends. So I would need to probably cut this one too. Yeah, that's kind of better. It feels a bit more. Yeah. So let me redo what I just did. So what I did, I want him to go into the combat pose earlier. So I'm going to cut all this. And then you see this part right before he jumps? I'm going to use this to scale it to make him go into the pose faster instead of just using the blend. So I'm going to cut this clip and then scale this one. See? Scale on. And then it's going to blend into the new combat pose just for this amount of time. See? And then he's going to... So he can jump earlier too, right? He can go in the pose and jump and kick as he's turning. So here we have a kind of a problem. He is He's going through him. So the contact will have to be earlier. So I'm going to use another file because we're kind of running out of time. I'll use spin 180. Let's see. I want you to guys start practicing this because I still have to do the camera. So I'm going to try to finish by 5. Ooh, what is this? Jump. I missed it. Sidekick. Oh, okay. Let's try that. Match. Yeah, this one's going to work better. Okay, so same idea. I'm going to try this. Whatever. It's not. Please don't comment on my quality for the next hour and a half. You can do better than this. You're probably going to have more time than me to do this. Okay. So I'm going to rotate him a little bit so that he kicks him in the sort of groin or chest. As he's turning, boom. So we're going to need fall back, fall backwards. Hopefully this one will do. So technically here, he doesn't need to turn all the way, right? So we can delete this clip because we don't need it. Trim it to, oops, scaling again. Fall backward. Match. There we go. So we need to time it on contact. So we can trim all of these frames. We don't need them. And yes. So we can keep some snappiness because you want that pop on the. You could just blend it like in 2 frames. That's not bad, actually. See, sometimes it works out super easy. Sometimes it's super complicated. It depends. Again, it depends on the motion and what you're trying to achieve. So I'm gonna finish here. I'm not gonna add more because I still have to do the cameras, and I want you guys to start practicing in class. So we have the sequence. What are we talking about here? A couple of seconds. Wow, 11 seconds. Woo-hoo. So he comes in, runs in, stops, looks around, surprise, kick, done. Okay, so now we can add some cameras. Cameras is very basic. I'm not gonna go too much detail. There's something, so there's not much new stuff except for the layout so far, so I'm going to add the cameras as well. And what we did today in story mode is just basically the same thing we did last week. So there's not a lot of stuff going on. It's just we need all the pieces together. That's the assignment for this week. It's kind of like a small 10-second movie that you know how to get an environment, story mode, camera, and render. So cameras, if you want to add cameras in elements, go in cameras, drag and drop. If you're in models only, you don't see it. You need to be in X-ray. Yeah. So by default, by the way, you can turn these off to create less noise in the scene. The clips. So by default, if you go in scene, you will see the camera you just created. The camera has two parts, a camera and an interest. An interest is where the camera is looking at. So if you select the interest and you move, you can see it kind of moving with the camera starts looking at it. You can move the camera too, and it's always looking at that target. You can actually parent this target to an object, but it's a bit more complex. So I'm not going to go through that today. I'll just show you the basic stuff: how to create camera cuts, maybe animate the camera a little bit, have one shot of animated camera, so you know how to key it, key the basics. So first thing, as you're building your Act 1, 2, 3, you should start thinking about shots. I don't know if you, in the other classes, you kind of touch base a little bit. Yeah? Okay. So I believe it's scene 1, shot 1, scene 1, shot 2, right? So name your cameras this way, because once you start building your previs after March break, and you have multiple shots, it's gonna help you stay organized and stay. Yeah.
Can I use this assignment for the previous after?
If it lines up with your story, by all means. If reuse it or build on it and expand. Yeah. So I'm gonna name my camera. Let's say shot 1. And camera interest, again, shot 1. So I know these two are linked together. Same thing. Yeah, if you're in the scene and you double click, you will get the properties of the camera. You can either get it here, or if you go on properties, select the camera and go on properties, you're going to see the same settings as you see here. The thing I want you to start using is the resolution, because resolution is important for rendering. So the first camera you create, your resolution, your format is HD. It gives you a preset 19 by 20. You don't need to use 19 by 20 because it takes a bit longer. So just go 1280 by 720. That's the standard HD. Okay? And if you click on square safe area, and we create another pane, another viewport. If you go in view, by default it's single pane, but you can create two. So you'll have your perspective here, and here, if you click on it once, view, perspective, shot 1, there it is. In perspective, you will have a list of the camera shots you have. Okay. So this is what now the camera is looking at. If you move the target, it will move the camera where it's looking at. So there's two modes of manipulating the camera. Okay. So you can use this and move the target, the camera and the target separately. I believe you can, yes, you can move them together at the same time. Or you can go in this and you kind of have the camera in your hand, like a, like a handheld. So you can move it here, and it will update in the viewport as well. So what you're moving in the camera view updates for both the camera and the target. So let's say I don't have anything selected, but I'm in the camera view. See, it's moving both. Rotation, which is this, is rotating around the target. So you have two ways. I like to use the viewport, the perspective, just because for keying, it's a bit, once you set a key, if you press K on the keyboard, you don't actually put a key on, where is it? Unlock. Yeah. If you want space here to see your keys, just right click, either unlock, sorry, and now you can, it's a little trick. You don't need to do it, but for me, I like this because sometimes I don't see the key because it's right on top of the time slider. So this way I separate. So if you select the camera and you press key, it does not put a key on the target. Okay? Those two things are separate. So you need to put another key on the target. Okay? If you move it like this, so let's check. It's not going to work. Yeah, you need to to key it, you need to have it selected. Okay? So just remember, for keying, you need both of them selected. You can actually do this maybe. Let's check. If you move it, rotate it, and press a key, it will, yes. So, okay, so here's a simple way. Just select them both in the viewport. You go where you want. You navigate in the space. Right? Where is it? It's right here. Yeah. And then you either here or here, press K. So now you're putting a key on both. Yeah.
In which case would you only use the keys for the camera or
If you're like doing an orbit around the character, like in Bad Boys, the hero shot, like you leave the target on the two guides, and that's
when would it only be require
interest.
interest?
If you're thinking in my example now, yes, in my example, so I'm going to pan from the sky to see Aragorn. You don't need to necessarily move the camera, but you need to move the what it's looking at, which is the target. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to move the keys up to here. Let me check what I did here. Okay, I'm going to revert back to frames. Am I snapping? Yeah, be careful, guys. A lot of you on the keyframe assignment, you were keyframing between the frames. just it's gonna get messy later if you do that. So just make sure when you start, make sure snap on frames is on. I'm not sure if it happened by mistake. If it keeps happening to you, the keys are between the frames, let me know. I'll look into it. Maybe there's something, maybe there's a new bug in Motionbuilder or something. Okay, so that's my first key on the camera. It's going on, it's looking at the sky, and maybe in a couple of seconds, I want it to start looking at, maybe 1 second because it's a bit short. I wanted to start looking at Aragorn. So the camera is a little bit high. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to animate both. But in this case, that's how, if you just want the camera to do this, you know, it's like following something, that's when you just key the target. But I think it's better if you key them both. This way, it's like peace of mind, you know? Yeah. There's a key on both, so you don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit this way to look at Mr. Aragorn. And key. Let's see what that looks like. Yeah. And in here, I'm gonna. Are you guys taking camera techniques, like a little bit? Okay. So use those. Use those in my class. This way, it's a nice. You know, don't cross the line when you have two characters. All that. There's a lot. We can't go through them, obviously, but keep that in mind. Yeah, I think I'm going to cross the line. Actually, maybe not. Let's try this. So if right now I have both selected, I moved both. I'm going to put another key here and see what that looks like. It's a little wonky. If you want to see the curve, that's probably why, because I'm because okay, yeah, okay, I got it. What happens if we try to delete the key on just the camera? It might be a little bit smoother. Yeah, there you go. So in this case, we deleted the key on the camera because it's a case by case, like whatever you're trying to achieve. Sometimes you don't need the key. If I just deleted the key and now it looks a lot smoother. So it's following the target better. Let's check actually. And if he jumps anytime, it's not the best jump, sorry, but it's the time we have. Okay, so in here, I'm going to create another camera for the second shot, okay? I'll create a drag and drop. If I switch now, or actually, so if you don't want the same, okay, before I do that, I forgot something. So shot one. So I'm going to go back a little bit on, okay, so near and far plane, I forgot that. just in case you get into that near far plane issue. So square safe area. I want to explain this a little bit. This is important because when you render, anything close to the red line, you're not going to see in the render. It's actually no, for TVs. For TVs, you're not going to see anything past the red line. Okay? Your render that's coming out of Motionbuilder is going to be fine. You're going to see all of this. But on the TV, or whatever, LCD, any TV, you won't see past the red line. So keep your action safe between the yellow and the red. Okay? If later on you decide to use Motionbuilder for your final, let's say in third year, and you're displaying it on the projector or whatever, make sure all the action is between those two lines. So keep that on. It helps you to frame the action. Got a question? Oh, yeah. It's a good habit. I would. It's just for later if you decide to. It's there. Also hide the grid, because we don't want to Motionbuilder when you render it renders the grid as well. So I would hide it. So now you have two choices. Either bring in a camera, a new camera, and redo these settings. Actually, no, somebody showed me a little trick. You don't need to redo the settings, because once you do the settings once, click on this guy, save as default. Okay? Because now every new camera you create so in cameras you don't see the camera interest, you have to be in the scene. Every new camera you create will have that setting, so you don't need to worry about it. Yeah, we can do it that way. So now we want a new shot a little bit closer, like here. So I'm going to switch to camera, but I'm going to rename it. I'm a bit lazy, so I'll do copy paste and just change 01 to 02, or I can just type it. Okay, so shot 2, see it updates here because I switched before. And shot 2, since we have still both selected, I want it a little bit closer to the action, so like frame them better. So here I'm trying not to cross the line of action. It's fine. I'm not going to go too crazy with camera cuts. 2 cameras is enough. You'll get the idea. So now we have 2 camera cuts. You can go up to 3 or 4. It doesn't matter. But for this exercise today, I think it's enough. So we have camera 1, shot 1, and shot 2. We want to see what the transition looks like from shot 1 to shot 2. Okay? The way to do this is in view, perspective. Sorry, it's outside the perspective. So in perspective, you have your cameras that you've created. Outside, under perspective, there's something called camera switcher. Okay? So what that is, it switches cameras. So where do you find, where can you key this camera switcher? If you go in cameras, where all the perspective, front, whatever, there's a thing called camera switcher. So in here, they changed it a little bit. Okay, so you have a list of all the cameras in your scene. I'm not sure what these are, required front. These are new. I'll have to investigate. Don't use them. Just use the shots, the camera shots that you created in your scene. So you need to go where you want the cut to happen, okay, the shot. So you want to cut here to the next shot. You select, I forgot how to do this. I haven't done this in a while. Okay, hold on. So if I go to the first frame key, okay, so go to the first frame, frame 1, select your camera, your first shot, press key, and then go to, let's say when he lands, select camera shot 2 and press key again. See? That's where the switch happens. The switch is not too different, so you already see the switch, but it could be more dramatic. You don't have to do what I'm doing today. You could be a little bit more dramatic than that. So that's how you animate the camera switching. It's super easy. You just go to the beginning with your first shot. You go where you want the cut to happen and just press key. Select the second shot and press key. What this allows you to do, you can have as many cameras as you want, and then let's say you're not happy with the cut, you want to cut earlier or previous next frames. You just put your mouse on the cut and you just drag. See? And now you're cutting earlier. As long as this viewport, it says camera switcher, remember with this, you are fine. You're going to see the difference. You want to cut later, same thing. See? So that's the idea behind the camera switcher. You don't need to worry about animating the same camera all over, having keys everywhere. You can have multiple cameras. Maybe one of them is animated like I did, and the other one are just still shots. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm going to stop for cameras right here, and I'm going to show you a render before we break. So camera switcher, and bad Motionbuilder. Okay, it saves recovery, so let's hope the recovery is saved though. Sometimes it's not. Where's my recovery? God damn. I think I know where it is. No cameras. Okay, hold on a second. I think I know where it is. Let me check. Temp. Users. App data. Local. Autodesk. No. Let me see if I can retrieve the recovery. See Windows 10. See Windows 10. It doesn't look like it. I think I have a path at work to see where there should be a recovery file somewhere. Let me check maybe the search everything. Is it the way? Of course not. I don't know if you guys know about this one, search everything. It's a good tool to, it's a lot faster than the Windows search. Okay, this one, this guy. I'm gonna try to find it maybe in the next 5 minutes if it doesn't work. So search everything. If you can search by FBX and date, I believe. Let's see what it gives. No. What was the name of the file? Bangkok. Maybe. Oh. D. Joe. Let's try that. When was it saved? 4:30. Let's see. No cameras? No cameras. That's the same file. God damn it. Okay, it's okay. I mean, we have... I don't have my 10-second film anymore. Let me check one more thing. Backup. Oh, is it in C or D? I think it's C. Okay, so don't do my mistake. Save in increments, like I told you, so you don't get into this trouble. And I'll try to find the recovery file. It's in there somewhere in the like C, Windows, blah blah blah. So what? Oh, shut up. Ads. Wow. I thought somebody was sneaking up on me. Like I'm being hacked. That's funny. That's good. Yeah, that's good. It's going to be on YouTube. Okay, what I was doing. Okay, I'm going to show you how to render. I'll open any one of these. And drop in a camera. I'm just going to show you a simple render. So now if we switch to, oh, we lost, it's okay. If we switch to this view, camera, okay, and we go to render. So you would actually, okay, I'll do it properly. Camera switcher, and there's only one camera. It's okay. Imagine there's two. It's okay. It's fine. Or should I create another cam? I'll create another cam just to make sure it renders properly. Produce camera 2. So now we can switch to camera switcher. So on the first few frames, so on the hit, I want to switch to the second camera on here, key. No, I don't want to do this. Oh, on here, key. So now, yes, I'm crossing the line, so don't do what I do. So I'm just gonna now render this. You go and render. MOV. You have QuickTime. You can render MOV compressed if you have QuickTime installed. No, we don't. It's okay. You can install it. It's better for this way. You don't have to use a converter. So install QuickTime. No ads, please. Uh-oh. Download. Where's my download QuickTime? This one. Download Windows. We probably need to restart Motionbuilder. Please don't crash. It's okay, backfist, yeah. Next, accept custom, whatever, typical. No. So now, if we open the file again, it's still playing. Okay, render, MOV. I'm going to create another folder called render. This way I dump all the renders in there, so it's not on the desktop or anything like that. Name it the same as the info on Moodle, so week, I'm not sure, 5. I forgot. Your name, Joe. So in here, Motionbuilder from camera. You can try to leave everything as is. Maybe change the 32-bit. Active. Display option active. And let's give that a shot. So Motionbuilder from camera, which is, sorry, this one. You need to click on it. Click on the camera switcher because the render box renders whatever you have viewport selected. Models only active, and then let's render. By default at H.264, keep it at that. Frames 30, keep it at best. And let's see what we got. Render and keyframe MP. Oh, that's always a good idea. There we go. That's it. So took a bit longer, sorry. Just because the layout gave us some trouble. But it's good, you know how to do it, so it's good. Situ, any questions? So this time we're uploading a video. I want you to start practicing how to render, okay? The information should be in the Moodle. So an environment, 2 characters, some motion in the doesn't have to be. It could be just a fight, maybe just a fighting sequence. Some minimum 2 cameras. One is animated, and another one may be a cut. And render and upload. Yeah.
10 seconds, you said?
Yeah, if you want to go 10 seconds, we're not building a story for one assignment, so it's going to take us 3 weeks to build it after March break, so we're not going to build it now. This is just for you to practice environment, 2 characters, story mode, cameras, and rendering. Cool? Question? No? Okay. I'll upload the video, and you can take a 5-minute break, come back, start doing it. So, okay.